Hello YouTube family, James Green, Short Series Shenanigans. Okay, this is going to be episode 3 of the American Rotary phase converter install. Now, to kind of do a recap in case you guys haven't seen the other videos prior to this, we purchased an American Rotary ADX series rotary phase converter. It is a 5 horsepower. Okay, that's just a quick recap. What I've done off camera is I've tried to eliminate just the quick, simple, mundane stuff. I wanted to show you guys, hopefully this will be a tutorial if you do purchase an American rotary phase converter, how simple it is. So in the last episode we had the idler motor over on the bench. I now have it sitting over here. I'm going to adjust the camera and I'm going to try to get you guys a good angle. I'm going to go ahead and recap really quick what I've done and what I've found out so far. Everything in this manual, like I said, I can't stress enough, sit down, read through the manual, because depending on your application things may vary, but it's been very, very good resource, very easy to understand for those of you that may have very limited knowledge on, or let's say just basic working knowledge of electricity as far as household or AC electricity household, whether it's 2-phase or you don't even know anything about three-phase. It is very, very clear and concise, very simple, not complicated. The pictures in here are actual pictures of what you see as far as your stuff in front of you. They're not a stock photo or a sketch drawing. Now there are some sketch drawings just to illustrate hookups and stuff, but as far as when it comes down to making connections that we're about to make here, okay, in these photos in regards to the wires that we're getting together. Now I'll move the camera over and I'll go ahead and explain, because I hadn't, I glanced through the manual, I sat down and read through it again. As you get to each next step, what I found that works good, read all that stuff up to, and once you complete those steps, then go back and read, okay, from that point on, what's my next step, and read through until you understand what is to be done or achieved in the next step. Let me go ahead and move the camera over here. I want to get you guys a really good angle for this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera down here. I'm trying to look through the viewfinder, make sure you guys get a good view of what is going on. Now, all I have done as of late, and I'll try to make sure you guys get a good view, okay, is, again, the electricity is not plugged in. Okay, here's the power cord, so it's out of the way. Now, what I am going to do, and this is something I thought of, because I had made this stand for the other idler motor with the other one that I was going to use. I'm actually going to build a stand because I want to get this motor up above, and I will show you what I'm talking about here. And they say you can actually do this in the book, but you see on the mill the level of where stuff can get slung from there on down. So rather than leave this setting in the floor, I'm going to actually build a shelf. And just so you know, this isn't just hanging by the wires, it's actually resting on this other set of wires back here, you can see. So it's not just hanging by the wires, trust me, it's being supported and held. So I just wanted to clear that up. But I am going to build a shelf, and I want to get this idler motor up here, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to actually put it on a shelf. You can't see it, I don't want to move the camera, but I'm going to actually I will get you guys a better angle of this. Once I get this wired in, it is actually going to set on that shelf right there where you see that green diamond coffee can or old walnuts. I'm going to clear that off, and there is enough slack in that line right there where it'll set up there. And I'm going to move everything off, and that's definitely up high enough that I don't have to worry about anything getting in the way. There we go. Because they tell you in the book, make sure you don't get debris in it, and we all know a mill slings everything from basically the spindle height out and across down. So you can't box it off in a totally enclosed enclosure. You want to make sure it is able to get air. They explain this in the manual, to be able to cool. You don't bolt the motor down in their manual. You rest it on the feet. So I'm going to clear that off, and I'm actually going to get someone to, because that's heavy. I'm going to get someone to help me, and we're going to clear that off, and we're going to set that up there. Now all I'm going to do to make sure that it doesn't accidentally, if it does try to vibrate, I'm just going to put a little board, you know, bumper board. So I don't anticipate, but we'll see how loud it is and how it runs. So for right now, we're just going to leave this sitting down here. I'll go ahead and drop the camera down, guys. I want to get you closer in here. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to have you looking over my shoulder so you guys can see what's going on. All right. Now, I apologize if I repeat some things, but in this video I wanted to make sure that everything was being covered as far as keeping it simple. Now, what I did was, initially, because I reused this from the other section, I went and created my own labels, okay? And I just labeled it, and I did it on each end, and I owned it out. Number 1, number 2, number 3. You can name it. You can name it whatever you want. In the panel and corresponding on top, it's leg A, B, and C according to the book. Okay, and but I went ahead, and you could probably go back and label it that, long as you know what wire is connecting to what leg. So essentially, ABC is going to be 1, 2, and 3, which is that here. Okay, so we'll clarify that. So for future reference on this video, A is going to be 1, B is going to be 2, C is going to be 3. So in the book, on the next page, they talk about your wires and everything, okay, and how they've got these eyelets on the ends. Now, when we opened this up here, there was a package with these small 1/4-20 bolts, okay, and these little star washers that were affixed to them. So what those are for, okay, you actually bolt your wire sections together and tape them up, and that is per the manual. And I'm going to go over it real quick. In example F here, or F section, which is in some of the steps, it says wire the idler, bolt leads 4, 5, and 6 together, which they've already taped off wires 4, 5, and 6, and they're already marked, and we saw that in the other video. So we're going to actually take and bolt those together and tape them off. Okay, because trying to put a wire nut on that many big gauge wires may prove difficult, and you do not want the connection to ever come undone. So we're going to go ahead and do precisely that. These are 1/4-20 threaded bolts. All right, and we're going to do precisely what they said. What I'm going to do is grab the channel locks. Always love my channel locks. The tools to do all this stuff is relatively easy. Okay, so those are taped together. Next we're going to do exactly what they said, because those don't actually get taped to any of the legs. The other 3 sections do, and they talk about that in here. So we go ahead and do precisely. They said you can even do some shrink wrap or shrink tube, and I've got some, but you know, I have to have a bunch of electrical tape. I've got a couple of literally a couple of cases of this stuff. So everything is taped up really, really well, and it is out of the way. So I already off camera attached my ground. Now what I've used is I use the white wire that came up through here, and that is to ground. You can color your wires whatever you want. Preferably, you know, if you have this, like let's say when they did this, they probably had black wire, but they noted which one was which, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. If you have, or you're going to create, you have the ability to have different colored wire, and that way you don't have a labeler, just use different colored wire. So those are taped up. The ground has already been bolted in the back here, so that's in and out of the way. Next, they say, per the manual here, connect the ground line to the screw in the box, and we did that, and that's down inside here. Okay, I know the light's kind of, I don't want to get too much light and blow the camera out. Next is connect terminal A, which is going to be number 1, because that's what I have connected to A up there, is going to be number 1 and 7. Okay, and so what I've had to do is I haven't put any of the connectors on here yet, onto that, so that's 1. Take that around. Alright, and then we said 1 and 7, and they're actually printed on the wires. Really, really, really nice. Okay, number 1, number 7, and that's going to go to this setup here. Again, what I have seen so far with everything, it's been really easy, real self-explanatory, real simple to understand, nothing complicated. And this is a 7/16 diameter fixture here, or fastener, sorry. Okay, those who want to find their natural place and spread, ideally you kind of want to get them like that, but we don't want to, I don't want to accidentally get it and force it to where anything bends or breaks, but we still have enough room for everything to fit in here. And I am going to make sure that we tape everything up really, really, really good in here, so we don't have to worry about anything making contact. We'll make sure we go through in here. That way none of the wires can make contact on anything inside the box. And this is exactly how they say in the manual to do it. Is tape them up. So nothing, and this is actually the good grade UL listed electrical tape. This isn't the cheap stuff. Alright, that set's done. Alright. Next is we have terminal B to number 2 and 8. I'm going to go ahead and sit down on my butt. Kills the knees. So 2 and 8 are the next ones, which are here. And that's going to be terminal B, which first, let's go ahead and, which is B is our number 2 wire here. We'll go ahead and put the connector on here. And 2 and 8 right here. So that's what these little package of these little bolts was for inside the capacitor box when we received it from American Rotary. Because I was curious, what are those for? And now we know. All right, and the final ones, there's going to be a lot going on in this box here, are going to be the last two legs, which are number 3 and 9, and those go to leg C, or our wire is marked number 3. And I went ahead and labeled them on both ends. And again, I wanted to do all this on camera so that way, if you guys are watching this, you can get a good idea of really how simple it is to do all of this. I was kind of a little hesitant at first, and I thought, okay, what do I got to figure out? But they've really taken time to think the manuals out, so it's been really easy. I know on some things, guys will get VFDs and stuff, and companies, they just presume you're a licensed electrician and you already know everything, and that can be somewhat intimidating at times on, well, how do I wire this up or that up? And we reach out to some of our, I reach out to some of our fellow YouTube contributors like Stan Zikoski, Andrew Padaka, stuff like that, and we'll say, hey guys, got a question I'm not sure about, and they put out some phenomenal videos on how to wire up VFDs. So I know Stan is going to be wiring up a VFD similar to this, I presume, at the bash that's coming up, because American Rotary is going to be bringing a, they're going to be giving away a phase converter out there, and so that's going to be pretty cool. Alright, so we'll make sure we cover every bit of metal. Alright, so everything is taped up as per their manual. Now, they just shows you fold it up and you stick it back in there, and everything is taped up really well, and there's a lot of room in the box. So everything is in there, it fit nicely. Now, pardon me while I get up here. I'm going to get my little box, and I have, and it's sealed. It's there's no seal on here, but again, they have different levels to explain to you guys, and they explain in the book in detail what level of, and I don't want to misspeak, but they have different levels of enclosures depending on where your phase converter may be, and they have some that are even like waterproof, where you sit outside or a moisture. So this will work here for what we're doing. I don't plan on getting back in there, and I do plan on setting this up before I start doing any work. After this will be off video, this motor will actually set up there. Now, I have not wired in the switch yet to the mill. Okay. Trying to start these is, sometimes they start easy, sometimes they don't. You know, we all know how that is. I like to start these by hand, just so I don't accidentally strip anything out. We used to have a guy that worked for my dad. He was notorious for slapping it in the drill and then just, oh, it'll thread itself, and then he'd wonder why stuff would break. So we've got this on low here. It's going to be real easy not to snap or over torque. Okay, so it's on. Alright, that's there, that's there, that's done, that's hooked up. The only thing that is not hooked up right now, and I have them taped off, okay, because they talk about in the book, in the manual, and I'm going to hook this up to the mill off the camera, but it is not hooked up to anything. Everything is, you know, safely ground, because this is the ground. Everything is insulated and it's up out of the way. So what they talk about next is in the manual, let me go ahead and raise this up here, making sure that everything is connected properly. And they just tell you the general considerations. Make sure that you follow. Again, they tell you T3 is a manufactured line. Do not use T3 for any single phase loads. Again, read through the manual, understand it, know it. If you have any questions, call the contact information 24/7 and someone will answer it. If in doubt, call and ask. They tell you again here, talking about your wiring size recommendations, they really go into making sure your wire that's coming to the circuit is big enough, the circuit that helps feed this, as well as make sure that the wire that goes to feed your equipment is large enough. And this is number 10.4. It is definitely big enough. So they talk about voltages in here and stuff like that to make sure you understand checkering and measuring voltages. And I'm not going to go into that in detail here. If you want to just make sure you have the correct size wire, they talk about general maintenance and lube. Now I do want to go over something because I did mention early on the motor has 2 grease zerks, and they give a time about and maintenance. They tell you do not use lithium-based grease. They tell you specifically lubrication to use and designed specifically for Exxon, Polyrex, EM, high temperature bearing grease or equivalent polyurea lubricant is recommended for the ball door idlers. Do not use lithium-based lubricants. They may cause premature bearing failure and will void any warranty. They basically tell you do not go crazy over greasing it. For the size, which this is a 5 horsepower, they actually state on here that every 12,000 hours is when you grease it, and you do the quick math, that's approximately once every 18 months. You don't want to get carried away and spread extra grease into the bearings. They give you a troubleshooting guide back here, so if you have any questions. So everything is here. We've went ahead and made all our connections. Everything's on, everything's good. All our connections are tight, and now we're going to go ahead and put the enclosure cover on. It's going to be next. Actually, before I do that, I need to get the correct Phillips here for my fastener. Sorry about that, I should have had that ready. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the cover on the enclosure here. Okay. Make sure that's there. Everything's clear. Kind of fun trying to do all this one person here, but we can get it. As soon as you get one started, everything else is pretty good. Okay. And they tell you specifically, do not run this to where whenever you turn this on, it automatically starts the load. Okay? Let's try. There we go. Okay. Which you need to have a cutout switch, so when you start this, it should not automatically start the load. Okay, everything has a serial number on it. The serial number is over here on the side, and it gives you for your box. They've got all this stuff on track. I do have a warranty card that I need to turn in and mail off. And I'll get the other two on the other side after the video's done here. So for all intents and purposes right now, so we're not going to be running any power to anything right now. These are protected. Everything is off. So our cutoff is actually going to be the switch. So again, whenever you turn this on, we want to make it in the off position. You don't want to do this and have it start the load. You need to plug it in, start it, let it start up. So let's see. Everything's off. We'll go ahead and plug in our phase converter. And I've got, you guys can hear the air conditioner running in the background over there. So let's see. That's how noisy it is. And I'm going to shut it off. That's not noisy at all. Let me go shut off my air conditioner. Okay, you guys know how good my camera is and how much noise it produces. All right, and you're going to see it kickstart. Okay, it's quiet. All right, ready? That's not noisy at all. It's producing its 3 phases. All right, and we'll go ahead and shut it off. And it's performing exactly like it states in the manual, okay? And we'll go ahead and do it one more time, just so you can see this will, we come to run and ready. There you go. That's pretty quiet. We'll go ahead and unplug it. Very, very, very quiet. So, for those of you that, excuse me, have used old rotary phase converters in the past that were really noisy, my air conditioner is noisier than that. So, in a video after this, you know, I'll have the mill up and running. The mill itself running, and you guys have heard my mill before in other videos, is noisier than that rotary phase converter. Heck, my lathe running, when it's running, is noisier than that rotary phase converter. That's really quiet. That's not bad at all. That's like having a fan running in the shop. And, you know, it's like 88 degrees outside. It's pretty hot in here today, so I've got the air conditioner running. So that's not loud. That's not obnoxious. That's, I mean, you know. Okay, let's plug it in. Let's see if we can talk over it, which I know we can. Let's see. And we're having a conversation. Yeah, you know. So I'll sit here and do the last part of the video with the rotary phase converter running. We'll see how the video turns out. I understand that in the past other rotary phase converters would eat up and video camera. So this will be a test when I go to upload the video. So anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate it. Again, American Rotary, you guys have been awesome. You guys, my public email address, eagledustoff37@gmail.com. If you have any questions about this in particular and you want to know more about the rotary phase converters, contact American Rotary. The information down in the description box. Man, I'm glad to have a rotary phase converter running now. So we're going to go ahead and get it hooked up and running. And until next time, you guys, be safe. Take care of yourself and take care of your family, because remember, at the end of the day, you and your family is all you got. Until next time, get out in the shop, make some chips, hook up a rotary phase converter. This stuff's fun. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.